Hey, good morning, Ben. So this is just a quick video to summarize all 5 of these chapters from 4A to 4F. So you said you're struggling with this entire unit. Let me summarize it for you and make it much easier for you to complete. This whole unit simply is just about drawing lines. And that's all you are doing, just drawing lines. 4A was about testing your ability to plot points. That's it. So here, for example, 0.58, 5, x always goes first, y goes second, just like the alphabet, 5, 8, and that letter is M. 5 across, 8 up, M. Okay, so that's all 4A was about, and there's not much more to that. In fact, here, letter N, where's letter N? Right there. So what's the coordinate of that? Well, my x value would be 1, my y value would be 1. The point is simply 1, 1. And then the rest of the unit is simply about graphing lines. Okay, so from 4B to 4E is about graphing lines, and F is about applying our slope formula, which I'll talk about in a second. So to make things easier for you, for 4B, instead of filling the table, I'm going to say ignore the table. Okay, ignore this table. To graph these lines, all I want you to understand is this. The constant, which is the number without the variable, will be where you start drawing your line, okay? On the y-axis, start on y-axis. Now, if I look at this grid, this is my y-axis, and this is my x-axis, okay? So I will start at 1, starting at 1, and this right here would be my 2 over 3. That is my direction. 2, 3. Now, the number on top tells you whether you go up or down. The number at the bottom tells you whether you go right or left. Okay? So, if it's positive, you go right. If it's negative, you go left. So, starting at y equals 1, I'm going to go up 2. So, 1, 2, and then over 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm done. Because with 2 points, all I need to do now is connect them. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So let me do this other example for you. Yeah, now, the reason you were struggling with this table, Ben, is probably because you weren't showing the work. Because with the algebraic work, you need to sub in the x and then solve it individually following BEDMAS, which would take 2 or 3 lines per. But for the sake of this unit, and because we are pushing forward, I want you to focus on the ability to draw lines given this form. So again, this would be start on y-axis, okay? So I'm starting at positive 1, which is right there. And then, again, this would be my direction. So this would be negative 3, which means I'm going down 3, okay? And then to the right by 2. So down 1, 2, 3, and to the right by 1, 2. So I have 2 dots, I'm done. I have 2 dots, I'm done, connect them, voila. Okay. Now, for C is the exact same thing. Okay, exact same thing. Now, why did I have so many sheets that reinforce the exact same concept? 2 reasons. Number 1, it's what grade 10 math is mostly about. Number 2, they were different ways of drawing the lines. So 4B was actually about using the table of values, which I'm telling you to ignore. 4C is where I remove the table of values, and I want you to draw it just like the way I just showed you. So starting on y-axis, start on y-axis, starting at 1, and then again our direction would be up 2 over 3. For D, guess what? It's the same thing, except for D and for E, I introduced 2 new terms, and that's something we call direct variation and partial variation. Okay? Now, those are just fancy words of asking whether, so direct variation is saying, does your graph cross 0, 0? If it does, then it is direct variation. So for example, in this case, I'm looking at this and thinking, wait, what is my b value? Because there's no number here, right? Well, if there's no number there, you can assume that's 0. That means, guess what? Start on y-axis. That means you're starting here. Starting at 0. Okay? Now, if you're starting at 0, then I need to look at my direction. So in this case, my slope is my direction. I'm going up 4 over 3, so up 4 to the right by 3. So up 4 and to the right by 3. Okay? Now I can connect those dots, and there's my line. So is that a direct variation? Well, does it cross 0, 0? It sure does. So yes. Yes, it does. Okay? Now with partial variation is it does not cross 0, 0. Okay? So let me just go back. Sorry. So graphic lines. So going to 4D, or sorry, 4E, partial variation does not cross 0, 0. Okay? So if I look at this example, again, notice I'm using the same colors. So blue for starting on the y-axis. So I start at 1. Okay? And then my red would be my direction. So my direction would be up 3 over 5. So up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 5, which would be about right there. Okay? And then I connect the dots. I got my line. Okay? Now, my question to you is, does it cross 0, 0? No. So is it a partial variation? Yes, it is. Okay? Is it a direct variation? No. Direct variation would imply it crosses through 0, 0. Okay? And last but not least, slope. So the slope was our direction. Okay? This was our direction, otherwise known as our slope. Okay? So this last worksheet of this unit was talking about, hey, what is the slope? What is the direction of this graph? Well, there's two ways you can look at this. You can look at this and go, I just need to pick any 2 points, right? So if I pick this point and this point, how do I get from here to here? Well, this says 0, 4. I need to see how far up do I need to go. Looks like I just need to go 1 up, right? To get to 5. And then how far across do I need to go? Well, it looks like I need to go 1, 2, 3. 3. Which means my slope is just 1 over 3. Now, of course, this only works because I gave you the points. Now, if I don't give you the points, and you need to solve this using a formula, what's the formula? Well, it's right there. Okay? So to apply this formula, I'm not going to reiterate it here because it might confuse you. If you re-watch the video regarding 4F, it will tell you, and I use colors to make it all pretty, in order for you to apply this formula. But all it is you're subtracting 1 point from the other. Okay? So if you understand the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for 4F, re-watch the video I've recorded on applying the slope formula, and you will see how to apply this formula to find the direction. Okay, well, hopefully that helps. Alright, take care.